The Somogear Peq-15 Clone has caused quite a stir in the shooting community that is looking for an affordable IR laser illuminator that is not restricted to LEO mil only or purchased on the gray market. There are several long-form threads online discussing whether this is truly a serviceable item for shooting. One of the concerns with this unit is whether the IR and Viz lasers are co-aligned, which is the main advantage for a unit like this, as it is easier to zero the unit to your rifle without doing all the adjustments with nods on. I've conducted a small test to determine if this Somogear Peq-15 has a co-aligned IR Viz laser using this Steiner CQBL to help. I figured it would be best to film this in daylight to better show what this testing setup looks like and how it will be used to determine if the IR and Viz laser of the Somogear Peq-15 are actually collinear or not. So this Peq-15, I got this back in October of 2022, and on the forums where a lot of people are discussing these, they seems to be that every few months there's some kind of improvement made. So the people that are saying that their units are not collinear, that maybe they have an older one, and Somogear, for all I know, might have fixed this. So on the one side here, we have the Steiner CQBL. This has an IR and Viz laser. We're only going to use the Viz laser. And on the other side, we have the Somogear Peq-15. So I'm going to test this, is assuming like just pretend this wall is very far away. I'm going to turn on the Steiner CQBL Viz laser, and then I'm going to mark where the laser is hitting on the wall. Then I'm going to come back. I'm going to turn on the Viz laser of the Somogear and make sure that the Steiner is still on the spot where we marked. And then I'll mark where the Somogear projected its visible laser. Then I'm going to come back and then flip this to IR mode. And then under night vision, see whether or not the IR beam of the Somogear hits that same spot. And that's why we have this here, so we know that we're always aiming at the same spot. And we can tell whether or not the IR laser is where it's supposed to be, hopefully on that dot. Okay, so we're at a park right now, and we have the tripod set up about 75 meters over there. We have the Steiner CQBL lasers pointed right there, and this is the Somogear Peq-15 Clone, and that's the visible laser. I put a piece of tape where both lasers sit, so we're going to go down and switch the Somogear to infrared and try and match up, see whether or not these lasers are co-aligned or not. Here's the side of the wall here. This piece of tape is the original marking for the Viz laser, and this here is the marking for the IR laser, which is actually right here, just over my head. It's actually fairly close to the other one, so this is the initial marking for the Steiner CQBL with the Viz laser and the Viz laser, and then this right here is the current Viz laser now with the IR. So they're fairly close to one another, although this is a good 3 inches or so off from the first one, and it's pretty much almost stacked, so definitely not co-aligned, unfortunately. And again, we are at about 75 meters away. So okay, so with the regular camera phone here,
I'm going to cut in here because my rambling becomes a bit incoherent in this part. I marked the first location of both the Viz lasers, but when I switched the Somogear to IR, it was difficult to get the Steiner laser back to its original indexing spot. The closest I could get was about 3 inches to the left of the first mark. It's a bit confusing because the Somogear lasers ended up almost on top of each other, but basically there's a 3-inch shift in the Somogear laser at this distance, implying the unit is not co-aligned. Ideally, what we would have hoped to have seen is if the Steiner laser was 3 inches to the left, then the IR laser of the Somogear would also be 3 inches to the left, indicating co-alignment.
these pieces of tape actually kind of represent the size of the laser at this distance. So are they co-aligned? I wouldn't say so, but are they co-aligned enough? Maybe, considering this is at 75 meters. You know, you're getting what, 3 inches of shift at 75 meters. So So we saw that the Somogear Peq-15 Clone is not truly co-aligned. However, at the distance tested, it is usable, I would say. It's a bit wishy-washy and up to you to decide. On the other hand, though, something I would have liked to have done is the same test, but using the Somogear in Viz laser only and testing the Steiner CQBL in Viz and IR mode to see if there's a similar shift or not. But that's another video. I hope this was useful to some of you. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below and I'll try to answer them. Thank you.